got this recipe from, whoops, from Sally'sBakingAddiction.com, and we tried it because I had been looking for a recipe for a long while and couldn't find one that we really liked. But this one, my daughter said, this one works. So, what it calls for is 2 1/4 teaspoons of yeast, and I use Flashman's bread machine yeast, but I don't usually use my bread machine, but it's instant rapid rise. It still works really well. 1 1/3 cups of warm water, 2 1/2 cups of unbleached all-purpose flour, 2 tablespoons of olive oil, 3/4 teaspoon of salt, 1 tablespoon of granulated sugar, and cornmeal for dusting, but I don't ever use the cornmeal. So, I'm going to show you how I do it. I do use my KitchenAid for it because it's the best tool. I cover my KitchenAid with a saran wrap little cap thing, but you could use a shower cap from Walmart. And while that I'm not using these, I will stick those in there so they don't, sorry, that's loud, get dirty. Okay. And I still make sure this is clean, which I did wash it, but I still wanted to show you how I did that, so that's why I put it back on. So what I'm going to do is, you first do your yeast and water. So I'm going to pour 1 1/3 cup of warm water into my bowl, and I'm going to add 2 1/2 teaspoons, almost got tablespoons, 2 1/2 teaspoons of yeast. There's 1, 2, and 1/2. And I have a habit of always sticking my yeast right back in the refrigerator because I like to keep it stored in there. You use your dough hook with this one, so I'm going to go ahead and get this started. It says to let it sit for 5 minutes, but I never do because I know my yeast is good. I use it so much that it never has time to go bad. So I don't ever worry about doing that part. So I'm going to go ahead and start with my flour. It calls for 3 1/2 cups of unbleached, and mine come with a little hook on there so I can just take mine apart and it's so much easier to use. And I use the buckets with the gamma lids to store my flour because I buy it in bulk at Sam's. So, I'm going to get my first cup. Now this recipe does say use plus more if needed, and sometimes I need a little more than 3 1/2 cups, but most of the time I don't. Was that 2 or 3? I don't remember. Maybe it was 2. If not, I just messed it up and you're all going to see it. And that's the 1/2 cup. But go ahead and start mixing this with the olive oil, salt, and sugar. Need 2 tablespoons of olive oil. ¾ teaspoon of salt. And what I do is I just use the 1/2 teaspoon and then the 1/4 teaspoon to get 3/4. And I just do them at the same time. And then a tablespoon of sugar. And since I've already used the tablespoon for the olive oil, I'm going to use the half tablespoon and just get 2 of those. When I read the instructions on my KitchenAid, it said to never run it over speed 2 whenever you're using it for dough. So, seems like it would take forever, but it really doesn't take that long for this to mix up. So I'm going to get it started and let it go. If you're doing this by hand, you need it for 7 minutes. But otherwise, you just use your dough hook until you see that it looks kind of not spongy, but it'll bounce back if you touch it. And you'll be able to form it into a good ball. Sometimes I help it by pushing down on the sides to get it all in there, because it seems like when I'm baking bread it just doesn't want to love each other. I don't know if you can see, but it's starting to come away from the sides and it's starting to form the ball. And I don't know if it's all KitchenAids, but I know mine, sometimes it does not want to grab the stuff in the bottom, so I just help it a little bit with my spatula. And I think this actually was made for these types of mixers. It's a KitchenAid spatula or silicone. You can use it in heat and everything. It's awesome. Okay. Now, take that hook off, set it to the side. I'm done with my mixer, so I'll push it back, make weird noises. And I'm going to take this and I'm going to form it into a ball. And you were supposed to coat it with olive oil. And I'll just use olive oil spray and just spray in there and coat it really well. Take one of my towels. These are dedicated for only bread making. I have another bag full of them, and I didn't have a place that I felt safe enough for them to be food safe, so I stuck them in a Ziploc bag. Let this sit and rise for 2 hours, 1 to 2 hours, just according to how, you know, how warm your house is, what, you know, temperature that you keep it. And so this says she will turn her oven on 200, then turn it off, and then just stick this in. But I don't do that most of the time. But what you do is sometimes it takes just an hour or so. So I'm going to just set my little timer for an hour, and then I'm going to check it. And then whenever it's ready, I'll get back to you. Can you believe it? I did put 4 cups of flour in that. Oh well, we're going to try it anyway. Now I'm going to show you how I prep the toppings that we put on our pizza. I've already browned up some sausage, and I buy my bell peppers in large quantities, so I just cut them up and put them in the freezer. And this is some of our freezer peppers. And my daughter and I only eat pepperoni or cheese pizza, but my son and husband like other things, so my son said tonight put whatever on it. He even wants bologna on it. Who wants bologna on pizza? So I'm going to cut this up. Seem to can't get over the peeling. this will be too much, I'm sure, but we're going to put it in this bowl, and whatever's left over I can just put in the refrigerator for another meal. And this half I am going to be sticking in the refrigerator for sure. So I'll go ahead and wrap it up with some saran wrap. I usually put it in a bowl, but I want to get this put away. We're going to have one of our pizzas, because this makes two 12-inch crusts. One pizza we're going to have with Asiago cheese on the crust, the way Hungry Howie's does it, which is really good. The other one, well, we're going to have like half of each pizza the same way, but the other half is going to be stuffed crust, and I'm going to take these little string cheese like this, and I'm going to wrap it with pepperoni and put it in the crust. So right now, I'm going to take some of this cheese, if I can open it. And I'm going to grate it into this bowl. Probably got too big of a bowl. So right now we have sausage, onions, peppers, and now we have the Asiago cheese for the crust. And we're going to have mozzarella also on the pizza, but not on the crust part unless it just falls on there. We're going to have pepperoni. I guess I'm going to do bologna, or bologna, or however people want to say it. I say bologna. And even though I did put too much flour in that dough, in the pizza crust today, it still looks the right way whenever I was kneading it, and it also is rising the right way. So I guess I did something right. Maybe it was a day that it just needed a little more. This is all we're going to need for the crust. Probably too much right here. And I'm going to put the rest of it back in the refrigerator. My son wants bologna and ham, so he'll have bologna and ham. Roll it up, maybe it'll make it a little easier to cut it. Okay. And this, I will most likely, we're going to probably make a square pizza because I only have one round pan. So, most likely just cut this as I need to. But that is what we are going to have on our pizza tonight. Which, of course, the pepperoni's not out here. But I'm going to put all these things in the refrigerator until the dough is done. This, if you can see it, is how much it's risen so far. It's not quite ready. But probably 15 to 20 minutes before you ever start preparing your actual pizza, you want to turn your oven on. This says 475, but mine, it really cooks just really fast. It's a really old stove, and it cooks a lot faster than what normal nail types do. And but it says to do 475, but mine I just do like 425 or so. Okay, now I'm going to show you what the dough looks like once it has risen. It smells really good. And what you do is not have a pan in your way. You punch it down and you divide it into two. You can make this into individual pizzas or however you want to do it. But you divide it into two, and on your pan, which it says to sprinkle with your cornmeal, but I don't do that. I just spray it because it's easier and it works. Then I take the dough and I start smooshing it out onto this. And like I said, I only have one round pan, so I don't make it really round. And this pan is actually more than 12 inches, and it's supposed to be a 12-inch dough, so it won't fit this entire pan exactly. I can actually make it thinner pizza by doing it like that. But what I do is I just separate it, put it out like that. And like I said, half of this pizza we're going to make with stuffed crust. The other half I'm going to do Asiago cheese on it. And the way I would do the stuffed crust is, because we want to just try this, I'm going to take this, break it off, put a little in there, and just go around the crust however far I want to go. And I want to go about there because I don't want to do the whole pizza in this because we are doing the Asiago on the other part. Probably be a good idea to open these before you touch pepperonis because the pepperonis are greasy. And just, if you can see what I'm doing, the sauce is in the way. Tuck that in like that. And that's all I'm going to do with it like that. And on the Asiago side, I'm going to spray a little olive oil around the crust on the edge. Take my Asiago cheese and just kind of, not exactly sprinkle because I don't want to waste any of it, but kind of put it all the way around onto the crust. Okay, now I take my sauce, open it up. Ooh. Lose my spoon. I put sauce on there. Once I get the sauce on, then I just pile on whatever kind of toppings that I've chosen. In this case, it will be, because my son wants a wacky pizza, ham. Gonna put ham all over it. My son wants bologna on it, which is kind of weird, so I'm just going to put it on like half of this, not all of it. And onion all over. Peppers. And then the sausage. Then I will sprinkle cheese all over the top, but I want to, pepperonis. I need to put a few pepperonis. Don't need many because there's so many other types of meats on here, so we'll just stick a few around. And I'm going to wash my hands and throw the cheese on. And I put it in the oven, which I already have preheated. That's what it looks like. This is the stuffed crust. This is the Asiago crust. Cook it for 15 minutes. And I'm going to just go ahead, since I've already shown you how I did that one, I'm just going to do the pepperoni one. And I'll be back when it's done. This is what it looks like once it comes out of the oven. That's the pepperoni one. Had a little blowout over here where the cheese went a little crazy. I didn't seal it good enough. And this is the crazy one with everything on it. I don't even know what to call it. It's just everything. I'll let you know what it tastes like in the description box below, what my family thought about it. If you like this and you want more videos like it, please like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.